Welcome to the Animation Industry Podcast. My name is Terry, and my coworker just painted my nails blue, and I really quite like it. This chat is with Dina Amin, who is a stop-motion animator from Egypt. In our chat, she's going to share how she quit her job and decided to do absolutely nothing but deconstruct appliances for fun, which crazily enough led to her experimenting in stop-motion, which through a series of events led to a full-time career in stop-motion for her. In fact, just this past month, she started renting her own studio, which is phenomenal. And on top of this, just yesterday, she launched her very own Skillshare course called Stop Motion for Beginners, Create Expert Animations in Dragonframe, where she shares everything she learned from the ground up on how to make professional quality stop motion animations on a budget, what you actually need and what you don't to make things happen. And the link to that is in the description of this podcast, so please check out her course. Now, overall, Dina's story is quite amazing and packed with gems of advice, but before we jump in, I have a sponsored message to share with you. And it comes from my friends over at HUE Animation Studio, which offer a stop motion starter kit that introduces beginner animators aged 7 to 13 to claymation, lip syncing, rotoscoping, cutout animation, and more. Their kit contains the flexible and posable HUE HD camera with a built-in microphone. Their easy-to-use animation software with onion skinning, time-lapse, and chroma key tools. The HUE Book of Animation containing step-by-step instructions to create 20 exciting stop-motion videos. And digital resources such as free sound effects, storyboard templates, printable backgrounds, and activity sheets. So if you'd like to start creating your own stop motion videos, but you don't know where to start, HUE Animation Studio is perfect for you. And to get their kit and all those resources, just head on over to huehd.com. And I've included a link to this in the description of this podcast as well. So please check it out. And now, without further ado, let's jump in. Hi, Dina. How are you doing over in Egypt, right? You're in Egypt.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm doing great.
I've never spoken with, I've spoken with an animator who was in Egypt and is now in France, but never somebody who
really?
Is in Egypt, animating in Egypt. I think that's really cool. Tell me how you are. How's it going?
All good, all good. Very hot these days, but otherwise good.
Yeah, fair. So I guess let's just dive in. So you're a stop motion animator mainly, and
yes.
But you didn't begin like that. You were telling me before how you began from kind of ground zero with no resources or tools, and you were still making these super professional looking animations. So tell me how it all started.
Yeah. How it all, I'll tell you like from the very beginning, like the story.
Yeah.
Because I had like an accidental start in stop motion. I actually studied industrial design in Malaysia. And then when I came back to Egypt, I worked a bit in design, and then I worked in social media, and then I worked as a graphic designer, and I worked in like a lot of random things because back then there weren't like a lot of work in industrial design. And also I felt like I like industrial design, but I hate like the wasteful part of it, like that a lot of things that we design end up being thrown away. And I used to collect broken products and go to the scrap market, Friday market here in Egypt. And I would like find little like products and collect them. And I loved taking products apart. So after like coming back to Egypt after like 4 years, one day I thought, I'm working in a job that I really, really don't like. It's totally not me. And I decided that I want to do a thing that I love. And I don't know how I convinced myself this, but I convinced myself that taking products apart is the thing I love, and I'm going to do it. No matter if it's, I know it's a weird story.
No matter,
yeah. No matter if it's like it doesn't make sense, it's not really a career, what will this lead me to? Like, how would I explain this to my parents? I just decided that I'm gonna, for like the next year or something, I'm gonna be taking products apart and I'm gonna see where this leads me.
Okay,
so I did this.
I want to dig into this, but first, what is a scrap market? I mean, I think I have
a scrap market. Yeah, scrap market is. I think they are everywhere. Like, but here in Egypt, we call it a Friday market because it happens. It doesn't really happen just on a Friday, but it started on a Friday and then. So a scrap market here is usually a lot of like the sellers there. They get all the things that people throw away. They actually collect them either through the people themselves or from the garbage bins, and then they take them and they just put them on the ground, like in they like occupy a place, and then they put all the things that they found, and then people can buy used things and like buy things that other people threw away. So I go there and I find all sorts of things. You can find everything there, like electronics, mobile phones, cameras, toilets, pencils, toys, tools, signages, everything. You can find everything there. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That sounds really cool. I mean, I don't know if we really have something like that here. There's like things called like flea markets where people will like sell antiques or random items, but like, yeah, I don't think we have.
It's kind of similar to that, but not really, because I think in a flea market, people like, it's like their own stuff selling there, or like selling it through people. These are more like, they're really thrown away things that people collect.
Here, when you throw something away, it's in the garbage.
It's in the garbage.
So, okay,
it eventually goes to the garbage. Yeah.
Also, what kind of things are you taking apart? Like you're buying and taking it. Like, what are you talking about? Like toilets?
No, not
I know because I followed your work, but just for people listening.
I used to collect all sorts of products because I studied product design, so I was interested in that. So I had mobile phones, like from like, I even had mobile phones like I've never seen before. Not even mobile phone, like telephones and like with the dial and all this. Cameras, all sorts of cameras, like cheap cameras, pocket cameras, toys, dolls. I had all sorts of electronics, like everything. What else? Light bulbs. I take anything apart. Radios, cassettes. I like mechanical products. So anything with like, not just like the electronic with just the boards, but a lot of like pieces together, like shavers, things like that, hair dryers, a lot of like products.
Okay, so I think this is a really cool point in your journey, because you just said, I'm going to quit everything else I'm doing and just take stuff apart, which is incredible. And that's a huge risk. Like where were you in your like life that you said, this is what I need to do? Like, did you feel comfortable financially when you said this? Did you feel no? So you were like, so tell me about this, because this is a huge thing.
I was working then as a social media manager. I was working with my friends, and I love what they do, but it's really not my character at all. They design, They are design clothes that are made, ethnic clothes, like they're made for like different cultures in Egypt. So some would like in Siwa, Sinai, different things like that. And I used to handle their social media, which basically meant that I used to do a lot of things like that, but the biggest one was answering to customers. So I had like people, women asking me like, should I buy this? Should I not buy this? So, like at 2 a.m. in the morning, like this is when women shop in Egypt. And I had to like answer them, and I'm like, I'm not really interested in clothes and fashion at all. Like I like the ethnic part of it, but I wasn't interested in that at all. But I learned a lot from it. But I felt like, what do I even like? I don't feel like I don't know what I love or hate anymore, because I thought I liked product design, and I love product design. And this is what, like, I traveled to study, and I lived abroad for 4 years to do that. And it's not something that is very common to do in Egypt, like for a girl to travel and study abroad and live there and study something that is not also very common in Egypt.
Yeah.
And now I'm not doing it. So what am I really doing? So in my head, I thought that I will eventually redesign one of these products, because I'm a product designer, and then I will like invent like a new sustainable product. In my head, I still convinced myself that maybe it's gonna go this way. but it totally took a whole other direction, and I just let it go there.
But like, okay, so it's 2 a.m.
Mm.
You're awake. You're responding to women buying clothes, being like, yes, don't buy this, don't buy that. And you're wishing and dreaming of designing a sustainable.
No, I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking like, why am I doing this? Like, this is not what I studied. This is not what I loved. And then I remember the day very, very clearly, because it was a decision I made. It wasn't just like the events brought it up. No, I took the decision. I was sitting in, we were moving houses. So I was sitting in my old house, and I had just one box there, which wasn't allowed in the new house, which was full of my junk. Wow. And then I was sitting there, I was thinking, what am I doing with my life? I don't even know what I love anymore. And then I look at that box and then see that I really love taking products apart. And I remember in our, when I studied in Malaysia, our first semester, our first assignment was to reverse engineer a flashlight. And we had to take it apart. And I remember that I was super happy when I was doing that. And then when I came back to Egypt, I had a design job, and I used like every single excuse. I like whenever the situation allowed, I would like take a product and take it apart and tell them like, oh, this is like, I'm researching, like this is gonna be part of the design we're doing later. So I noticed that I love doing that. And when I saw the box, I thought, I know that I love doing this. Like, at least I know I love doing one thing, it would be this. And I really, really love it. So I'm gonna do it. Like, wow. I decided just to like do it. I was working, like I decided to work part-time at my job. So I didn't like totally quit. I worked part-time. And in Egypt, the weekends start on Friday. So I decided that every Friday, I would pick one product from that box. I would take it apart and just research about it, just do that, and then see what happens. And I decided to put it on Instagram because I like documenting my projects, but I don't like I was afraid of the internet back then. So I always like wrote or had a blog or something like that, but I never actually shared it with someone. So I was a closet writer, as they say. And then I actually did not have an Instagram, and I didn't have friends following me there or anyone. So I thought, okay, this is perfect because I plan to like take photos and write things. So, and I like how everything like it would be all like photos. I like the layout of it. And I thought to myself, it would look nice to see like how would this all is documented. But I didn't intend to like have like an audience and like it wasn't like that at all. I just like wanted to see where all this is going, like for me, like to see the progress of this. So I used to just take a product, and I had a yellow paper just like thrown somewhere in the empty room. So I took it and I took like a photo of the product, and then I would take it apart and take another photo of all the pieces. And I would, first I would like do an educated guess about like what's inside, what are the pieces, how it works. And then I would do my research. I would like watch like how it's made videos of it, like assembly lines, and it's all product stuff. Wow. But I really love doing this. Like, why is it broken? And I did all this research, and then I would write about it in the caption on Instagram, like this is like what's inside a shaver, and then I would put all the pieces, and then I would write something about my findings. And then I did this for a couple of weeks, and then 1 week I took apart a shaver, and then I thought, this is like a puzzle, like all the pieces. I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's so amazing. And I want to show like how there's so much stuff inside there and how it's all put together. So I know stop motion, like, because I watched like Coraline and movies like that, but I don't really know much about stop motion, but I thought maybe I'll do a stop motion video. So I didn't even like know anything. I had a slideshow app, not even a stop motion app. I didn't even like know anything. And I took like photos. I just know the basic concept, like you take photos and you move the objects and all this. So I made my first video of it, all the shaver pieces just like coming apart of the product. And I made like I took like 500 photos and I made like maybe it was like a 1 minute video, I don't know, too long. And then I tried to put it on Instagram, and Instagram then only allowed 15 seconds videos. It was in 2015 or 16, end of 2015. It was in December. So I go to Google and I write like, you know, how people like ask Google like the stupid way, like how to make stop motion faster, something like this. And then I found out about the frame rate and like the I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know like there are 12 and then there's like 12 frames per second and all this. I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I didn't know any of this. I was like, okay, there's like a lot to learn about stop motion, and I enjoyed the video I made. So I thought, okay, then next week, because I did this every single Friday, next week I'm gonna do another video. And then I did one where like all the pieces kind of explode. But then I was like, interesting, okay, what else can I make? Like, and then the week later, I started seeing like faces in the pieces. So I thought maybe I can make a character, like change them into a character. And then the week later, like I started, this is how I taught myself stop motion. So I just like,
I'm loving this.
Be doing this. So I did this for a year and a half. Every single Friday, I would do a video. And every week I would see like, why is not I would see a mistake I did or something and then learn about it in stop motion, or say like first I would do the characters just like laid on like on a 2D, and then I would make them stand up. So I learned a bit about, not really learned, but like I would rig them somehow with wires. And then I wanted to make things fly, and then I wanted to make something walk, and then I wanted to like, it was a creative exercise.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is amazing. You're on the threshold of moving. All of your stuff is, you're changing your life around a little bit, and you're not happy with things, and you see this box which sparks all these memories of a time you used to enjoy, and you just decide right there and then that whatever happens, I'm just going to explore this thing that I really love. Like, you weren't intending to say, I want to make money out of this. You just wanted to live, I guess, a little freely exploring this path a little bit. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And then like, I loved how you described, you know, the first time you took something apart and then how it kind of evolved into this like stop motion thing on Instagram and everything. What were you feeling when you decide, like in that moment when you decided that I'm going to do this? Like, how did your internal feelings change about your life direction at that point?
No, again, the question, sorry.
So you said you're not like, you're not that happy with where you're working and what you're doing, and you're moving, and you made a decision that you're going to explore taking stuff apart like that. That's all you decided.
I felt very, very excited because I was thinking that I've been working. I think at that time I have been graduated. I graduated 4 years already. And I also, I attended university here in Egypt first before I decided to move to Malaysia. So I already done 2 years here and then 4 years. So I had 6 years of study. And then, so I've been like doing a lot of study, and then I'm not working in the thing I love. I'm still like I did all this to be able to do the thing I love. And I don't know what the thing I love is. And I thought that when I went back to Egypt, that I was open like to everything, like whatever is an opportunity in Egypt, I would just accept it, and thought that I was exploring, like, let me explore, like I'll work as a graphic designer. It's okay. I'm just exploring my talents. I'm exploring social media. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then I got a bit like depressed, not depressed, but like a bit like down a bit, that I thought that I would have found it already. Like I've been doing a lot of exploration, even like before I graduate, but I haven't found that thing. And then when I decided to do this, I thought maybe that I didn't find it, not because that I didn't find it, oh my God, the world is bad, but maybe because it's not there, because I am the one who was going to start it and it's not in the world yet.
Wow.
So maybe when I started, this is why I can't find it, because no one has done it yet. So maybe if I do it, then others like would find it too. Like this is how my brain worked. I was like, okay, this is exciting. Maybe, okay, there is a reason why I can't find it yet. And I decided to do that. Yeah.
I think that's amazing. That's so incredible. I just love hearing that. And I mean, you've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah,
and
5 years.
You spent a year exploring, just exploring this path for you. Like, at what point did you decide that this is what you could or want to do to make a career instead of something part-time?
It was after 6 months of doing that, I started getting like small commissions from people, from companies telling me, oh, this is interesting what you're doing. Maybe you can do a stop motion video for us.
So wait, you're just posting your stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
And people are starting to follow you, and the company will reach out being like, hey, can you do this for us?
Yeah, and it was like small startups. It wasn't like big projects yet. It was like a few small startups, and then the BBC they got in touch and they wanted me to make
Wait, what?
This was actually my first thing, and it was like really bad.
Oh no!
Like now when I see it, I was like the transformations in it, because I love doing transformations, they were kind of nice. But then of course, like I was only like doing stop motion for 6 months, and at that point I also did not really admit like or see that I am an animator. I thought I'm just doing like something creative, but I didn't really see it in myself that I can be an animator. Like I did not study animation. I think at that point, I also didn't even know yet the 12 principles of animation. Like I didn't like, I'm like out, it's not part of my world at all. So I didn't know it. And I did not see myself as an animator back. Like at that point, I didn't see, I thought, okay, like people are asking me to do like these commissions, and at that point I also left my part-time job, so I really had no money. I had no money at all, so I thought, okay, let's do it. And then more companies started to send me, and
so wait, the BBC just reached out to you off of Instagram and said, we want you to make,
because they did like a small report on my project. Because my project was consistent. I did this every Friday for a year and a half, and people were following it back then, because they were, because I would put the photo of the product I was about to take apart on Friday. So they would see it, and then they would wait for me to take it like apart, and then like see, okay, what can I do with this? And then I would have to put it back together and then animate it. Taking apart and then becoming one character. And there was a story, like at the very end, I used to like have a story of the character doing something, and all this, like it became like more like not just like a simple animation, but it became more elaborate by the end. So there were people following it, like just like waiting to see what I'm going to do. So the BBC, they first did like a report about my project, and then they sent me, and they were the BBC, the Arabic segment. Like they were based in London, but the BBC Arabic. So they always wanted someone Arab to like fill this gap, who knows English and at the same time like can do things like that. So they sent me and they said, maybe you can do like an intro for the like the intro of the show itself, the show that made the report. So I was like, okay. I would just say yes to anything, but I really did not have like equipment or I was like, okay, just do it. So now when I look back on how I shot that video, oh my God. But the first one I did because I used to do on like, then I found the app Stop Motion Studio on my phone, and I used to like do the stop motions with my phone. And I didn't get like a tripod, so I used to do all my tripods like depending like where I want to put my phone. I had like several ones. Like I would even like just put my phone on a like a spatula just to shoot overhead and just glue the the spatula, and then I have like an overhead.
It works.
Camera, yeah, it works. I would do like lots of crazy things, and all this time it's because I didn't really see myself as an animator. So why would I buy a tripod? Like,
right, and also you didn't have much money. It sounds like either.
Yeah, I was like, and I enjoyed making the tripods as well. I'm a maker too, so I really enjoyed like, and I had lots of trash. So like maybe
you should have bought a tripod to take apart and put that together.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Wow. So you start to get these random commissions because you're doing something very unique and exploring that and doing it consistently. So people are starting to notice. Also, by the way, I think I told you this before, but when I said I was talking to some of my coworkers, my one coworker said, "Oh, that the girl that like takes stuff apart and puts it back together." Yeah. So you are world renowned for this, from Canada even all the way. So hey, special. But
yeah,
so
now it's a career.
You don't have a job anymore. You said you have no money, and you start to receive a couple commissions. And then how do you take it and turn it into a career for yourself?
Yeah, I just accepted it. I think it's because I enjoyed it very much. Like I didn't like admit that I was an animator back then.
Yeah.
I think because I felt like I did not study any animation, and I can't be like all these other animators. Like it takes years of experience like to be that, and I should have like done it when I was a kid and like had all this, but I'm like 26, 27.
Are you also receiving pressure from your family and friends to like get a job, and they're like, what are you doing with taking these products apart?
Yeah. My parents, so in Egypt we live with our parents as well, so there's like no hiding.
Oh no. So you're eating dinner and they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. They're like, my dad was thinking more like, Dina, because I was like I was graduated the top of my class, and I was always like from the top. It's like, you were really like good. Like, why can't you just go work in an international company? Because they would accept you, like you have like highest scores and all this, and you're very hard worker. So just go like work in like a big company, I think it bothers them to this day a bit that they can't explain what I do to people. So
right, yeah.
We can't like say. My mom was more worried that I'm just sitting alone taking things apart. So she would tell me like she wanted me like to go work in a company so that I can meet someone and get married and all this. Yeah, so she would joke about it because we have a saying in Egypt, like they say like when a girl turns 30 and she's not married yet, they say like she missed the train. And my mom would joke, she tell me, Dina, you're not even at the station. You're not even close. You're just like sitting alone playing with garbage and like
you're playing with garbage. You're not even at the station, you're playing with garbage. Wow.
but like I think when I don't know, it took a long time for them to be like, Dina, okay, like Dina has a job now. Like it took them a long time to see it. But I was so, I think like after 2 years of doing that, I think like when I started a company, because I also like did not intend to start a company, but because I was getting this work and it was from companies, most of them were companies abroad. So they can't just transfer me money. I would be in trouble if I'm not like a company, because like a company is sending a person money, and I wasn't like registered as a freelancer or something. So I was like, okay, I need to start a company. So I started a company and then, and then I have a company for, I think, for 5 years now. Oh. Yeah, it's been in 4 years. So I just did it. I didn't want to like start an agency, or I still told myself I'm not really a stop motion animator. So, but I'm just doing this to be legally correct.
In case the government is listening to this, did you ever? I think that's incredible, because you have a moment where we talked about this, where you're sitting in this box in front of you, and that literally that moment changed your life for the next 6 years, I guess, 4 years of the company and 2 years before you started one. Did you ever feel like giving up, or you're getting all this pressure to get an international company position and go to the train station and all these other things? Yeah. Did you reach a point where it was really, really tough for you to continue?
Yeah, I did a lot of times. First, when I like at the very early beginnings, because I wasn't getting also like I was getting small commissions.
What does a small commission mean? Like
it's from a startup. It's like for social media videos, and also back then I didn't understand like budgeting and what actually to ask a client, like what's the proper budget. And also I wasn't really investing, like I didn't have a camera, I didn't have gear, so of course I wouldn't charge that much. Like it was like equivalent to my like expertise back then. Yeah. So it wasn't covering like my expenses. It wasn't like I had to give up a lot of stuff. I wouldn't like go out with my friends. I would be like, no, I have to do this video and I have to like, so like to save money, because I really had like, I didn't have a job for a really long time. I was freelancing a bit as a graphic designer, but I really did not like graphic design. Like it's not the thing I'm good at. So back then I thought, okay, this is not really gonna work. Maybe I'm not, because it was me who was stopping me, because I didn't see myself as an animator. Right. And I thought that to be a stop motion animator, then I have to be like an animator. So I have to go and study like 2D animation, and I have to learn all these things that I'm not really good at. And then I thought, then I also have to do all kinds of stop motion, like with paper and claymation. But I was only interested in products. Like I only wanted to animate objects. And then until I also made the decision that I want to make stop motion, and it's okay to not be like the stop motion, like every single other stop motion animator, and that this is actually what makes my work different and the things I make different, because I was a product designer and I shouldn't like just like throw the Dina, the product designer, and just be Dina, the animator. But when I mix these two things together, this is what makes my work different. And I decided that I'm also a maker. I make things as well. And I don't have to be one thing. So what bothered me back then was that when everyone I met, and they like even new people, and they ask me, what do you do? And I don't know how to answer. So I don't know what to say, because I'm not really a product designer, because I actually break products, not make them now.
Just say what your mom would say. I'm sitting in garbage.
Yeah, I would actually tell them, like, I reached one point where I would think like, why do people have to introduce themselves by saying what they do? Maybe they would say what they love, like this is more important. So I would go to people and tell them, hi, I'm Dina Amin. I love garbage. And they'd be like, what? Okay.
It's a great way to meet people.
I love garbage. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great way to meet the right type of people, right?
Yeah,
like,
the right type
people
of
will understand you immediately, and the rest.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about where you're at today, because you went through all these tough times and trying to figure yourself out and what you wanted to do and all this self-doubt that you had as well. Yeah. So what is your life like now? I mean, it sounds like you're going to say like, I'm a stop motion animator who takes stuff apart, but what are you doing full time these days? I am a stop motion animator who takes things apart.
I am, and I'm also a maker as well. So I do both. So I do making projects as well, and they usually involve some kind of animation, maybe analog animations or just moving things. I like moving things, like even like automata and like mechanical things moving. I like this a lot as well. So I mainly make things with trash, whether it's an animation or whether it's like a machine or anything, whatever I like, I make. And this was the whole point. Like I will do what I love. So nice. I don't have a title. Yeah.
Is this your full-time job now? Like you've built a stable career that your parents can be happy.
Yeah.
Like asking that, because like, this is a self journey and you're exploring, like, obviously family is important. But,
Yeah, but now they kind of like understand, like, okay, Dina she has something going on. We don't really fully understand it. Because my parents, they are doctors, both of them. Like my whole family are doctors, so they don't understand the art thing. So they're like, okay, Dina is doing something. But my parents were like supportive in that way, that they don't understand what I do, but they leave me do it anyway. So
oh, that's incredible.
Like, okay, well, we don't really get it, but it's fine. Yeah. She's happy, so it's fine.
So you are working full time now then?
Yeah, I am. Now the battle is more about doing like finding the balance between work. Like I do stop motion work, so I do like advertising and things like that. But it's more finding the balance between work that is like me, very, very me, and then work that pays the bills.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a struggle for everybody.
Yeah.
So like, give me a snapshot of where you're at. Like, do you have a studio? Do you work with people? Like all this, like, I'm hoping you have a tripod now. Like
I do. That's the first thing I bought. But now I actually just moved to a studio. So I'm renting a studio in Cairo now. And I've only been here for a month. So that's my second month.
So new.
So
wow.
Yeah. So I don't just like have like one room where I do everything. So I have a studio now. So I have like a room to shoot videos, and I have like a wood workspace that I want to do, and then one room to like for editing and all this stuff. So I've grown. I'm also now working with other people on a freelance basis. So whenever I get a commission, I have like a team of freelancers who work with me. So the last commission I just finished, I was working with I have a director of photography, and I have like someone who works on props and sets, and I also have like a storyboard artist, and I also have worked before with another stop motion animator. So his name is Asim Kamal. So we used to work together on projects as well. So I really like the phase where I don't have to do everything on my own, and that there are like other talented people working with me. This is really, really nice. And I want to do a lot of it like in the future. Yeah, so this is where I'm at right now. Yeah.
That is incredible, and congratulations. Yeah. It's amazing to hear from the humble beginnings of where you began to where you ended up. What is So you consider yourself a stop motion animator because that's what you're doing for clients and whatnot. What is the industry like in Egypt? Because, you know, you said before that you thought maybe this thing I want to do, I have to create because it's not here. Is it still like that? Or is there's like what is the industry like in Egypt for stop motion, or specifically what you do?
There is no industry in Egypt.
No, so you're the only one.
Not the only one. There are a few other people. Maybe we're like 10 people, if I would exaggerate.
10 people in Egypt.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
Are there any other studios?
There is one studio, only one. And it's not, they haven't created like stop motion in a really long time. But no, there are actually two studios. One is doing a stop motion series in Arabic. They've done this the past 2 years, so they've done this, and the other one is like on and off. They do advertising. The thing about stop motion in Egypt, like the whole animation industry in Egypt, is not really big. They're still like trying to fight and like show people that animation is actually not just things for kids, and that animation is like can be applied for everything, and that we can do advertising and our own movies, and like there's no production in Egypt of like big things. So you mainly see it in advertising, but there are like some people who are fighting like to get like their movies made or things like that. So we have really, really, really talented people in 2D animation. So we have a couple of 2D animation studios like Samaka Studio, we have Folk Studio, we have 3D animators, like we have also very like a few talented, like not many studios, but like a few studios. And stop motion kind of died. Like there was like no stop motion at all, like just because because it's mainly in advertising work. And then whenever like, even when I was starting, whenever I get a brief that, okay, some director wants to actually, like he loves stop motion. It's not like any director who wants to do a stop motion app, but it's someone who loves stop motion. So it's like, oh, there's someone who finally does stop motion in Egypt. So maybe we send her. And then I would tell them, okay, this is the budget. And even back then I didn't know how really to charge. So it wasn't really a big budget. But then I would put the budget and they'd be like, oh no, this is like, no. So they would end up doing it in 2D or 3D because it's cheaper to do like that. Huh. Yeah. So this is what happened in, like, I'm guessing this is why stop motion died, because there was no work for it. Like there's no market for it here. But now I see like people are sending me, you know, there's more stop motion. I guess like what I really believe in is that the market doesn't really matter. If you're doing something and it's really good, jobs will be created, because people don't know, even agencies and companies, they don't know that they want it until they see it. Yeah. They're like, oh, we want this. Okay,
I love that you said that, because that's something that was very scary. That's why I didn't get into stop motion for 10 years, because I didn't see a market and I didn't think people would want it. And then suddenly now that I'm getting back into it, there's a resurgence here in Canada, which is amazing. But I love that you have that mentality, because even though you went through all these hard times and you pushed yourself, and now you've been you've had a company for 4 years. Yeah. So are you how frequently are you getting contracts? Is this like keeping you going, or are you also like actively seeking out work, or is it a mix of both? Because now you have overhead because you have a studio.
Yeah. I think it's actually funny that in last year, it's only like been steady from the end of last year, which I thought that last year would be like my worst year, but actually no.
No, it's a great year for animation.
Yeah. So the first half of it, I had no jobs at all. So for 6 months, I had nothing. It was, and I also used to do talks and workshops and things like that, and travel. So this was an income as well. And then it was stopped. It was no longer there. So I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to survive like that. And then the second half, just I actually know why. Now I know why. Because at the beginning of the year, I did one animation with the products disassembling, the one for my poster. Yeah, this one, the print. And it kind of went viral. And then everyone wanted that animation. Like, this is why I'm saying, like, companies don't know they want it until they see it. And I think this mentality I got from product design, because in like product design, people don't know that they want this product until you make it for them. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't live without it. But no one really knows that they want this. So when I made that animation, it kind of went viral. And then I had a lot of companies like doing so many different things, asking me to take their products apart and like make a video and showcase it in that way. So I've been getting like a lot of work, not all of the jobs I do, of course, like not like some jobs like there's no budget or there's no time or like this. But by the end of the year, I had really cool jobs all back to back. And I didn't imagine this at all. Like I was like, wow, okay. Okay, this looks like it's gonna work. Yeah, and then like I think, yeah, like throughout the last of the year until the beginning of this year, I had projects back to back. So it's only now that I'm like, oh, okay, I can take a break.
So the post that made you go viral, that's the one you've done in like AR, like that, where you're holding.
It's the animation. No, not this post, but the original animation.
Okay.
It did. The original animation I did for it wasn't actually like it wasn't meant to be a stop motion video at first. It was I had a sponsor. Their name is ifixit.com, and they are an organization, like they're like a Wikipedia on how to fix your things. I actually use them as well. So I used to like go and see, because they do tear downs of all the products and they explain what's inside things and how to put it back together or how to fix one part. So they reached out to me and they said, we want to sponsor like one of your videos, or like if we have like a kit, like a fixing kit, maybe like do product placement, like just show it in one of the videos, and we want to do like a collaboration with you. So I said, yes, yeah, of course. I like it. And this was like my first sponsor ever. So it wasn't even meant to be a stop motion thing. I came up with an idea to make, I wanted to make a show, like a series of videos where I take things apart and make it more interactive. So I made it like a guessing game where I'd ask people to guess at the beginning of the video how many parts are inside this product. And then I take it apart and show them everything inside, and I reveal the number of parts. Because when I did the series I named Tinker Friday. The series, when I did it, I always got the comment saying that we never imagined that there were so many parts in this, and that they even use these products on a regular basis, but they don't know what's inside, or like they're always surprised by the amount of parts inside. And it made me think that maybe this is why it's very easy for us to throw things, because we treat it as one thing and not like 100 things. So I made that series, and I had Asim, he's the other stop motion animator in Egypt as well. And he was helping me film some of the parts. They told me, you should do a stop motion like in it, like do like your thing, you know, you take it apart and make it like animate, do something like. So we did, I did like a small, just an overhead of all the pieces, just a small segment. And we did 4 videos of this. And then when I finished them, I thought this would look really cool if I do the whole animation again, like combined, and I have each one of these products transform into the other one, and I would make the whole thing into a loop. And I remember I told this to Asim, and he's like, because I didn't even know how to do this. Like I didn't know I was capable of doing that. I was like, okay, but I have this idea in my head and I want to do it. So I started like trying it out. I had all the pieces. I already like took it apart and put it back together. And I'll tell you why I love your podcast so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. I think I mentioned always in my stories, but I don't think I ever mentioned it to you. When I did this animation, I didn't know yet, like I wanted to do the idea, but I still like didn't know really how I was going to do it. And I was filming, not because I didn't have a studio yet, and I didn't have like proper lights. So I was filming in my friend's studio. They have a studio where they film cooking videos. So I would go there like on the weekends and the days they don't shoot and just like, leave me there. I'm just gonna animate this in your studio. And they let me do it. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. I still don't really know how I would do the transformations or how would I want it, because I wanted to flip in the air and then go down again and break in pieces. It's like, I'm too lazy to like rig it and remove all the rigs. So I remember that I was listening to one of the episodes in your podcast. And then I think it was, I can't remember the name of the studio, but I can't remember which one, but I remember there was one animator who said that back then they used to, when there were no rigs, they used to just get two pipes that fit inside each other, and they would have a screw. And then this is how they would make like the rig go up and down. And then just right before I was going, so I already told my friends I'm gonna come and animate it and I already like booked 4 of the days. And I was taking my toilet paper rolls. I thought that because I want to hide the rigs, so I would like just like here my object. I'm gonna shoot overhead and I'm gonna hide the rig underneath. This is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do like post-production. So it's like I'm gonna hide it. And I thought I'm gonna animate it with the toilet paper rolls. And then I remembered this thing. And I look around me and I find 2 pipes that fit inside each other. And they fit, I found that they fit on my helping hands, like what you use in electronics to solder. So I made the rig in like 10 minutes. I didn't even know it was like something. And I went the next morning and it worked. I just like, yeah. And I made the animation and it's like, this is the one that like was seen, the behind the scene was actually seen more than the actual video.
It's always like that.
Yeah, it's always like that. Yeah.
I think I'm so happy that my podcast has helped you. To me, that is incredible. Somebody from halfway around the world listened to something that I put out there and it helped them. I'm trying to think of who that was. I'm thinking, do you remember if they were from Montreal or from?
I don't remember. I think it was, I don't want to say their name wrong. Wait,
is it, I'm thinking maybe it was Sylvie Trouvé. Or maybe not?
I don't know.
I
can't remember.
It's okay.
I think maybe it was someone from Stupid Buddy Studios. I can't remember.
Okay. Well,
I think it was someone from Stupid Buddies, but I can't remember.
All right. Interesting. I'll have to pick my own brain to figure out who that was. Because that's such a random tip that I'm so happy helped you out on this project.
This is what made me like, I'm sure like I would have figured out with the toilet paper roll, but it would have like taken, maybe I would have given up, I'm not sure, but it made the video successful, and this is the main reason I got all the other jobs later on.
Amazing. Okay, well let's flip the tables on you. What is a tip you want to share for somebody listening to this from who knows what country that you found ingenious?
A tip like you mean like an actual thing, or
Yeah,
like
like something like the two pipes into each other for the rig.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I use radio antennas a lot. So when I make things, I want things to rotate, and I don't have a rig for that. So you know, radio antennas, like these ones, because they move very precisely and they can turn, and you can make them go up and down. So I made my own rig from this.
That is a radio antenna. That's I've never thought, you know how many times that I've like made something out of popsicle sticks and like to like move up and like turn, and when I could have just used a radio antenna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use this. I have a radio, like an old radio.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I have so many of them because I find them in the market, and then I have different attachments on them. So I have one with like the charger plug, so that I can plug it in the phone, and then I can turn the phone.
So you're still using your phone as your main camera source?
No. This is if I animate a phone.
Okay. Oh, if you animate. Okay.
Yeah. So to rig a phone and you want it to spin in air, you just use the charger jack. It's because it's already there. You don't have like to drill and fix things in it, and you can turn it. If you fix that to a radio antenna, you'll be able to spin it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Blowing my mind. I love this. It's like, because you know, stop motion can get extremely expensive very fast with buying rigs and things, but you just need to go to the scrap market and get some old radio antennas. That's it.
Yeah, because this is what they used to do before there was all this, like they still did stop motion animation. So there is a way to do even if you don't have access to tools. Yeah. Oh,
and I feel like stop motion is the most accessible form of animation because you can just use whatever you have already. You don't need
that's true.
programs or whatever. As your story shares. So you've started renting a studio for a month, which I think is an amazing step. You have a team of freelancers that you can call. What is the next big step for you? Like, are you still kind of going with the flow and just exploring how fun this is, or do you have are you like strategizing to turn this into something else?
I know by now that I don't really want to work in advertising that much. Like only if it's like something that that is challenging for me, or it's I like doing commercial work that has also my own ideas. So not just like, Dina, do this for us. This I don't enjoy at all. So it's usually just like, even the jobs in Egypt, like it's just like very simple animation. They still don't take very big risks in stop motion. And I did like earlier this year, I did one commission for Adult Swim. I did an ID for them, and I did a character animation, and I loved doing this one. I love working on it so much. So I want to do more character animation because I didn't do it for this was like my fourth time I do and I did like a proper I did like a proper study of the character, and I analyzed the movement.
You're talking about the character that's like yellow tape?
Yeah, that one. I really enjoyed working on this one, and they also gave me the time to work on it, and really gave me all the space.
Did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them? Oh wow, amazing! Yeah. That's so cool. So you are looking to get more into maybe narrative storytelling or character animation with your unique spin of taking things apart and recreating things, like you.
Yeah, or animating products in general.
Okay. So you're not talking about like working on a TV show type of character animation. You're talking about like objects.
Not really. Yeah. If I get the opportunity to learn this from someone, or go on an internship or a job to learn this, then I would do this.
So for example, if Stupid Buddy is like, hey, Dina, we'd love to hire you for I don't know, the next season of Crossing Swords, you'd come out and fly to the US and work on it?
I would probably do, yeah.
Okay.
For the experience.
Hey, if
yeah.
anybody from Stu would like
yeah, I applied for the Leica internship last year. Although like I know like with Corona and everything, like everything was just shut down. But yeah, but I thought maybe just try. Like I actually what happened is I was applying for not the animator job. But I was applying for the metal fabrication because I also want to learn this, and I follow. I don't want to like say but his name is Brian. He works there in the metal fabrication department, and I applied. And then when I read the requirements, they said like you have to be a student, you have like studied this and all this. And I wasn't, of course, a student, or I didn't have the visa. I was like very far away from the requirements. So I just sent him and asked like, I applied by the way, but I hope that I don't get like blacklisted because I don't like follow on any of the requirements. And he checked my profile and he said, why are you even like applying for the metal fabrication? Go apply to the animation internship. I told him, nah, I'm not really like 11. So I thought, nah, and this is even before I did the Adult Swim. Like I didn't have much character animation experience. And I told him, no, not really. And I didn't apply. And then he sent the animation director, head of animation in Leica, and he made him see my profile. And then he sent me a message that he sent him about like what he thought about my work. And he said it was like the most like supportive thing anyone did for me. Like,
my goodness.
And then he told me, I'm gonna push you, but this is for you to know how like that you have it in you, and I think you should apply. So I did apply, and I got from the top 30 animators. Yeah, but I didn't make it like all the way through because of Corona. No, I wasn't gonna even travel. Yeah, but it was a big thing for me. Like,
what the heck? That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, wow, so cool. I am an animator.
You are Dina. That's who you are. You can be an animator and you can be somebody who makes stuff, but I feel like receiving that message just tells you how amazing your work is and how incredibly rare, talented you are. That is so cool that like he took the time, and then the director, like what, that doesn't just happen. Like,
yeah, I thought, wow. So when I got the Adult Swim job, I thought, okay, maybe I can do a character animation, like just challenge myself and see maybe I can actually do it. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I want to do more of that. I want to do like more animations in general in my own style. I have like so many ideas. Like, you see these?
Are those all ideas? I thought those were like storyboards or something behind you. Those are all ideas for animation?
Yeah.
Like 200
animation and yeah, animations and like random projects.
Get to work. What are you doing on this podcast?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, so I want to do like lots of things. So I have like ideas I want to try out, and I just want to like do more of my personal ideas, like.
I mean, I think
my ideas out there.
I've loved where this conversation has gone. It's gone from, Dina saying, I want to explore this passion that I think I have, to doing it, and then getting some really awesome results, and just organically over time, building a company, building a studio, getting really good feedback. I think this is amazing. And also, you're in a country where animation is like pretty much non-existent. You're one of the few people, like you said, 10 maybe 10 people really focusing on this of millions of people in a whole country. I think incredible. Like, you're amazing.
Thank you so much.
So I was going to ask you what's next, but I already feel like, you got all the sticky notes behind you. You know what's next. You're going to keep kind of doing
exploring this, like working on all these, like seeing where all these, like, some of them will fail, of course, like this is like known, but some of them might be really cool. So we'll see.
Amazing. Well, is there anything, I guess, I mean, like, I've really enjoyed chatting with you. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about your journey or where you're going, or even just things that you learned yourself that would be good for other people who are maybe at their job and they're not enjoying it and they wish they were doing something like you are?
Yeah, I can share, like there is like a point in my journey that was really shifting, like it shifted things for me. I did a project. It wasn't even an animation project. It was a making project, and I did you know, this arm flailing, like the two-man dancing guy. So I always wanted to make a small version, because in Egypt we don't really have these. We have big balloons, like the big fat characters that they put, like massive ones that they put. And I really love this character. So I made a tiny one out of junk. So I used like a hair dryer and like some plastic bags, and I made one. And I sent it to Make Magazine, because I really love them. And they wrote an article about it. And one guy read it and he sent me, his name is Mark, and he makes, he organizes a conference in Germany called Beyond Talent. And he sent me an email and he said he read that I also write my name with a small d, and he also writes his name with a small l. And he told me, this is, it's like, Dina, I also hate my name in like the capital M. And I think what you're doing is really cool. Maybe you can come to my conference and talk about your story, and like I'll cover the flight and all this. Let's just have a Skype talk and see like your experience in talking, like public speaking, and see. So I was like, okay, like this random dude is sending me. It's like, okay, let's like, maybe I should. Why not go to Germany? Why not just go? So I had a talk with him, and he was really sweet. And I love the idea of his conference. It's Beyond Taliban. It's about like looking beyond the edge of your plate. This is what they say in Germany. So you don't just look like in your own field, but you learn a lot of different things from other fields. So he gets a speaker from very different fields, and it's just like a creative night where you're open to learn so many different things. And I went there, and I didn't know anything about like the the conference, where it's this is the first time I go to like a creative conference or any of this, and first time to speak. And I saw like many speakers, and I thought, okay, this is like very scary. But then I gave my talk, and then I realized that this is actually like a thing that artists can do as well. They can be a public speaker as well and give talks, and this would be like not just an income for them, but they get to meet other artists and creatives and make connections and get to know like creative people. So to me, this point, like this conference opened a lot of doors to me, because I got to go, like also the other conference organizers would attend different conferences. And then when they see a new speaker and they like their talk, then they would invite them to their conference to be a speaker. So I got invited to 7 other conferences from that one. And I traveled to many countries.
Wow.
Sharing my story. Yeah. And I got to meet so many incredible artists and creatives, and I got to learn from them. And whenever I would travel to a conference, I would take the opportunity to visit stop motion studios in the country that I'm in. So I got to meet even stop motion animators and visit their studios and like see what they're doing. Because I've never seen we don't have a stop motion studio like to go and see in Egypt what they're doing. And they all like happily invited me to their studios. And this like changed like I thought like, okay, this is no longer like me exploring. I am doing it now. Like this is okay, this is real. And this is going somewhere. I think this was in maybe 2018. Yeah, this was in 2018. And so, yeah, conferences and events and animation festivals, these are like very, very like big opportunities, like every artist should do, like go meet other creatives and get to know people. And just, it's also like the artists I met there, not just that they opened my eyes to what can you do as an artist, or just to see that so many people had different paths, or like they do things differently, so that you see that you don't have to do a certain thing a certain way, but there are so many opportunities and so many ways to do things that you can also like do as well. So yeah.
I mean, what the heck? What the heck? So let me ask you this: how do you feel now? How do you feel about how where your life has taken you, and like, do you feel happy and fulfilled with what you're doing, or do you still feel like there's something, like you mentioned before, you don't want to take too much commercial work because you want to find like a good medium, but like think about all the opportunities you've been given and like explored and you know, just doing your own thing. How do you still feel that there's something you're not exploring still?
No, not really. I think that I'm just doing things at my own time now. Like before, I used to be like, oh my God, I haven't done this yet. Oh my God, I'm too late. Like I'm behind. I felt like I'm always behind. But now I feel like, no, like I enjoy doing things at my own pace, and people do not all do things at the same way at the same time. So I just like, if I want to, like this year, learn character animation, I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna happen. Like when I first started, I used to feel like because most of my work is coming from social media, like people know me from there, and I'm not really consistent on social media now, and I'm not like really focusing on it because I have to do other jobs. But I used to be. I'm not freaking out because I'm not really growing my account, and I feel like, oh my God, I'm so behind. And then I'm like, it doesn't really matter.
I feel like that's like, I haven't posted anything serious in like a year. Like I feel that way too. But social media, unless you're constantly
you have to be
posting, you're behind anyways. Like
but it doesn't really matter. Like I think, to me, the numbers don't matter. It's because like what I like about my like the way my account grew is from first when I was doing my Tinker Friday project, and it was very consistent, and people can really see, because this is why people know I take things apart, because the people who follow me really followed that project for a long time. And then it really grew from talks that I give, like from the audience who was listening to my talks. So the people who follow me, they really know what I like. They really know my story. They really know the kind of work that I do. They really know me. So, so I do feel like the big number doesn't really matter. It's that I have connections with the people who follow me. We actually have a lot of conversations. I've met many of them in real life, in the talks I gave, like even before they follow me, I actually saw them like in real life. A lot of them are my friends. I got the opportunity, like when I travel, to meet the people I always talk to on Instagram. So I like social media in that way. So this is now how I look at it. I don't feel like I'm behind, but it's the opposite. I feel like I've made the best out of it. Like
you have connections that are meaningful instead of millions of followers that you have no connection with.
And I do get jobs as well. It's not like that you have to have like this big number. No, I have like when I got the Adult Swim job, I had a lot of animators from US send me, and they're like, did you send them? I'm like, no, I didn't. they sent me, and I don't have a big account or anything, but I think they do see like people with different work, and they are always looking for interesting artists and trying to collaborate with as many artists as possible. So I don't think that numbers on social media matter. Like, I think it's the type of work that you do.
Yeah, totally, 100%. And that's something I've learned myself, because there's a trap of wanting thousands of followers that you can easily fall into versus the right types of people. So yeah. Well, I think if your story is like one of like, you know, following something that you really love, being consistent at the start with just exploring and putting yourself out there, and you know, doing something that's very niche and unique, and not giving into the what you think other people want, and creating your own path. I think that's amazing. And it's really nice to hear where you've ended up now and where you're going still. I love that you still have a lot to explore. And I think that's important in doing something going that you love.
So many things.
I'm so curious as to what those ideas are. So is there anything else that you wanted to end on, or say?
No, not really. I think like, I don't know. I think the thing I learned from all of this is to really question myself, and question if there is I really believe, when I look at my journey, I see that I stopped myself many times from being what I am today. It was because of me having like some doubts or some false beliefs. So like at first I believed that, oh my God, I have to have a camera, I have to have a tripod, I have to do this and all this. Even before like doing this project, like I've always like tried to start so many things, and I never actually did them because I thought, oh, I need to buy this and I need to get that. And in this one, I just did it because I loved stop motion so much. I just did it. So I learned that I had this in me. I believed that tools were important. And then when I unbelieved it, I don't know what's the opposite of believe, like disbelieved it. Then this is when that now whenever I think of something and I notice that I'm resisting it, then I ask myself, why am I resisting it? Is it because I don't have it? Then I can get it, or I'll make it work. Is it because I feel that there are no opportunities in Egypt, but the world is big, then I can get other opportunities from somewhere else. I don't just live in Egypt, I live in the whole world. So it's always like a belief in you that you have to really like look in the eye and see, why am I thinking like that? Am I really limiting myself, or is it, because a lot of people think like, I get this question a lot, especially from people in Egypt. They feel like, oh my God, we can't get anything here. There are no jobs. There is no this. There is no that. All this. And I feel like, why do people see like there are so many opportunities? Like there's a lot of work. There's a lot of things. And why are you limiting yourself with Egypt? Like you are like in the whole world. Like why are you just like focusing on what you don't have? And you have access to the whole world now. So this is something I really learned. Like
I think that's so, I mean, that's something that I struggled with massively in starting my own animation career, and still struggle with. I have so many limiting beliefs, like, why am I staying in Toronto? Why am I not starting these projects? Why am I like all these things? But so for your strategy is when you find that you are faced with a fear or something that's resisting, you're resisting taking action, you question why, what is that limiting belief, and you can actually do something about it. Like,
if I catch myself like blaming the around me, like if I say, oh my God, there's,
so if you're blaming,
like there's no funds, like I was looking for funds, for example, and I was like, there are no funds for in Egypt or the Middle East or all this, just very, very few ones. And this is a reality, yes. But then I start thinking, maybe this is like when I compare like there are so many funds abroad, and they're only like, a lot of them are only open for US, but there are also a lot of people in US applying for these. There are maybe only 2 or 3 funds in the Middle East, but there are very few people applying to them. So it's actually in my benefit to apply to just 2 of them, and maybe I would have higher chances than someone who has so many funds, but there are also so many people applying to them. So whenever I find myself like just questioning, like blaming, like, oh my God, all this, then I try to like see like in me, there would be something that I think is a limiting belief, like that I need to work on and I need to fix, because it's actually like, there's so much in the world, like there's so many like things.
Well, I love what you said about like, you know, we're not just in Egypt, we're in the whole world. And that's so true now because like we're chatting, like,
see,
it's what, 5:30 where you are now, and it's 11:30 where I am. Like, what the heck?
See,
So
this I can share like one last thing. I went to a place here in Cairo they call Garbage City. It is where they do.
Sounds like your dream.
Yes, they do all the recycling there. This is where like garbage collectors, they collect all the garbage of Cairo and they take it there and they recycle everything there. So, and it's like they made the city. They literally turned their homes into a recycling plant. So I always wanted to go and check it. So I did go there, and there this neighborhood, it's mostly Coptic people. So I'm telling you this because I would walk around and people would ask me, "Are you a Muslim?" And I'm like, "What is this? Like how did they know?" Because I wear the veil, and usually the Coptics they don't, but they would wear it like when they go to church or like in some neighborhoods they do wear it as well. But like, what is this question? So I asked one, like whenever I walk, they ask me, "Are you a Muslim?" I'm like, we're in the same country. How did you know? Like, how are you asking me? So I asked one woman there, and I was like, "Why are you asking me this? Like, you know that like Muslims in Cairo, they wear this, the headscarf, like some of them, not all of us do, but some of them do. So you should know." She's like, "Because I've never seen one wear it like you do, because I tie it from the back." I'm like, "How did you never see, like there are so many of us who wear it like this?" And I asked her, and she said that she actually never goes out of the neighborhood. And then she said she feels that she is like a fish. If she goes out of water, she would die. And this is her water. Like the neighborhood is her water.
Oh, wow.
It's like this, the saying, like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Like, but in Egypt, we say it like in English, it's like to express someone who is feeling uncomfortable or like out of place. In Egypt, we say, because it's more realistic in Egypt, because a fish out of water is not just uncomfortable, it dies. So we say like, I would die, like I'm a fish out of water, like I'm dead if I go out.
Wow. So all these people that live in Garbage City never leave Garbage City.
Not all of them, but
like
I found out that a majority of them, like this is their comfort zone. So they don't feel the need to go out. They don't really.
And people don't usually go there either, it sounds like.
Locals don't. So a lot of foreigners go there to see, because it's a huge place and there's actually a lot of very interesting things to see. Like they have, what is it called? Not a church, but I don't know the English. I don't know the English word for it.
Okay.
But there's one, because it's in a mountain. So they actually sculpted. Monastery. So they actually sculpted out the mountain, and the monastery is inside the mountain. It's very, very beautiful to see. And then they have, it's a very interesting mix of stuff. There was a Polish artist there who also wanted to make like the city more fun, the neighborhood more fun. So he did a zip line from like one tip of the place to inside the mountain. So you can zip line and you see like just like the statue of Jesus is there, and you're just like sliding into the monastery. It's a very interesting neighborhood, and the garbage city in general is very interesting, and the people inside and how people from outside perceive them, and the whole story of how it started. It's very interesting. But what she told me, it really stuck with me. And it made me think, if I was thinking like her as well, like to her, like fishbowl, like this is what I like to call it, was her neighborhood. This is her borders. It was just the neighborhood. And if I go outside this fishbowl, I would die. So I always ask myself, maybe I was thinking like that, if it was like, is my fishbowl Egypt? So like, oh my God, I can't go outside Egypt. I can't deal with people. I can't, I'm too foreign, I'm too all this. Or maybe it's a field, like it's animation. It's like, oh, I'm not an animator, this is what I used to do. Like, I'm not an animator. I can't be like among animators. I don't know animation. I don't know how to talk to them. I don't have the skills. I don't have that. I would die.
Yeah.
So whenever now I see that I feel this way, I ask myself, how big is my fishbowl? And then I remember that I don't live in like small fishbowls, but we're all living in one big fishbowl, and I have access to everything. And it's only in my head that I have these boundaries that I put.
I think that's a really cool illustration, especially with the story of this woman who lives in Garbage City and how it relates to your journey. I think that's, and as you're saying fishbowl, I'm already thinking of my own fishbowls of like what's limiting me, even though
we all have them.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's so tough to like get out of that mindset. Oh, well.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing chat.
My whole journey.
You need to come to Canada at some point, and I need to come to Egypt, and we'll expand our fish bowls.
Yes. Yalla, it's easier for you to come. I had a conference once in Canada, but they rejected my visa.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, we'll meet somewhere in between, I guess. We'll meet.
Yeah, sure. I can't survive in Canada anyway. It's too cold.
Well, that's a thing.
I would really die.
I like the heat, so I'll be fine in Egypt.
Yeah. Come.
Well, Dina, thank you so much for coming on the chat. It's been
thank
incredible
you for
talking.
having me.
And I feel like very emotional listening to your journey. It's been really like just very inspiring, and I'm so happy we chatted. This has been so great.
Oh, thank you so much. I love being part, because I told you, like, I listen to the podcast a lot and I learned from it a lot, and it's like something that, like, as I told you, like the rig thing, I learned it from the podcast, and it's really like opened up my career, like something like just one sentence in one podcast, but it really made a difference.
Wow. I feel so happy. Oh my goodness. You just made my whole day, my whole week.
Yeah. So thank you for making all these episodes.
Oh, you're welcome. I made them for you. I made them for myself, to be honest, and for everybody listening. Because like I get so much out of talking to every single person that I do, regardless of who it is. There's always something I take away. Unfortunately, I didn't take away those two pipe. I don't remember who that was, but from this one, I'm going to take away the fishbowl. I think that's a really cool illustration. So thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, I can say like one last thing.
Yes.
I have the Skillshare coming out, so you can share that as well. Yeah, I'm releasing a Skillshare class soon. Because I had a lot of people ask me, how did you turn your animations from like doing like mobile with your mobile phones, and now you're doing things that are so professional. So how did you learn? So I made a class that is specifically for this, because there's a lot to learn in stop motion, and like what should you learn first? What do you need to focus on? What do you invest your time and money in first? Because I think like some things are not really that important, and then things like that you should really focus on. So my class teaches just that, like all the things I learned in the last 5 years.
And it can, like, especially watching behind the scenes of professional stop motion, it feels so overwhelming because the equipment is so expensive. So your Skillshare class is for somebody who may be a beginner stop motion.
Yeah, it's for beginners. Who were doing like stop motion animations with their phone, and they wanna like take their level up. Like,
I love that.
But they still like never use the camera, or they don't know stuff about lighting, how to set up lights, or how to use drag and frame, or how to compile their videos like with Adobe software. So I go over all these things and what should you focus on. What
so like the basics to up your game a little bit more.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited about that too. So if you're listening and you know, that sounds interesting to you, definitely give that a look. I'll include a link to that in the description when it comes out. And if you're wanting to follow or get in touch with Dina, there are many ways to do that. You can follow her on Instagram at dina Amin, as well as her YouTube and website go by the same name, and you can email her from there. And I'll include all those links in the description of this chat. And thank you so much for listening. And that's all for now. Okay, bye. The music for this podcast was composed by Will Farmer and the graphics by Daniel Abensauer. I encourage you to look them up if you enjoyed their work.